Let's talk about Rocco Spindler. All right, offensive lineman from Notre Dame, obviously. They just had a really good season, playing the national championship game. He's coming into Lincoln tomorrow. This is a big dude. This is a guy who can start at center for you. He can start at guard if you wanted to. But you could easily, if he ends up committing and coming, then you've got Rocco Spindler, Henry Letowski, Justin Evans-Jenkins. You got a couple of guys who can snap the ball. You got guys who can play guard. You got Grant Bricks. You got Preston Tamoa, who we've talked about, a couple of redshirt freshmen, four-star, highly recruited guys. Preston's out of Hawaii, one of the top players out of that state. Grant Bricks out of Iowa, one of the top players in the entire country coming out of high school. They can compete for playtime. If nothing else, maybe for the love of all that's holy, we could have some offensive line depth for a change. That'd be nice. Let's just say he comes. All right? Let's say he comes. Then you look at the offensive tackles. You got Elijah Pritchett. You got Gunnar Katula. I mean, Turner Corcoran is coming back. Teddy Prohaska is going to try to come back. There's other guys in that room, too. It's obviously challenging the more injuries you're trying to come back from. Part of me wonders. And actually, I chatted with Sean Callahan earlier today. I've said in the past, I wanted Bryce Benhart to go to guard. When Jake and I chatted on Friday about the O-line, he's like, well, that's the best we had at tackle. We had to leave him there. I always thought Bryce would be a better guard. Give him less space to play in. I feel the same way about Turner Corcoran, and his future in the NFL might be as a guard. But you look, the offensive tackle spots, potentially. All right. Could potentially be Elijah Pritchett, Gunnar Katula. You see what happens with Turner. You see who steps up as a young guy. I guarantee we're not done with transfer portal additions. I mean, for the love of all that's holy, it's January. Is it still January or is it February yet, Jake?
It's still January.
It's still January. I always have to keep an eye on February because that's when I'm like, all right, Valentine's Day's coming. Can't drop that ball. All right. So I'm safe for another few days at least. But Rocco Spindler, a little bit about him. And who knows? I have no inside info as to whether he's coming, whether he's not, where he's leaning. I know he's from Michigan. The Wolverines are absolutely on the table as a team he might go to. Okay. He was a four-star coming out of high school, top 100 recruit in the country, started 23 games for the Fighting Irish, played over 1,300 snaps and only allowed 2 sacks. And he's rated the number 6 interior offensive lineman in the transfer portal right now. Now, in a perfect world, you're trying to bring in an offensive tackle. Those positions, it's becoming more and more like the NFL. You watch the NFL draft, it's quarterbacks, guys who can rush the quarterbacks, guys who can protect the quarterbacks, guys who catch balls from the quarterbacks, and guys who cover the guys who catch balls from quarterbacks. Those are the positions that are at a premium. Like, we're talking offensive tackle. You're talking anywhere from $1 to $1.5 to $2 million NIL transfer portal money now. Guards, while important, okay, aren't going to require quite that amount of money. Nebraska's gone after several of the top tackles in the transfer portal. If you think about the top 3, Naijah Pete obviously went to Kentucky, didn't quite get him. We were one of the finalists. You look at Isaiah World. He came here, visited, ended up going to Oregon. Okay, they've got that Phil Knight, Nike money. We did get Elijah Pritchett. I believe he was probably considered to be 3rd out of those top 3 offensive tackle portal transfers. Most question marks about him, certainly highest ceiling about him as well. So we'll see what happens there. In a perfect world, you're bringing in a tackle, but I've always said you got to bring in somebody, or somebody from within has to step up. I talked last Friday about how my biggest, in my career at Nebraska, my biggest improvement went from the fall of my true freshman year to that spring in spring practice. And I surprised everybody, including myself, if I'm being honest with you. I shocked myself. I was like, holy crap, I'm not getting pancaked by these dudes. This is amazing. All right. And then it just got better and better and better. So you never know who's going to surprise you. And I look forward to positive surprises. Hopefully we can avoid some of those surprises that aren't so exciting, especially on the injury front. Okay. And you know, I look at a guy like Stephon Thompson, a guy that we kind of anticipated coming in, and he started for Tony White as a true freshman at Syracuse as a linebacker. He started a couple games here, but didn't work out. Okay, so we want to have less of those and more of the positive surprises is what I'm getting at. All right, Jake, you got any? Okay, because I had you do this Friday. Starting offensive line as is right now. Let's say Rocco Spindler comes in. We don't know if he's going to, but just for kicks and grins, let's say he comes in. Who is then is the starting offensive line? And I want to preface all this by saying nothing should be handed out. Everything should be earned. Spots should be earned. I know how NFL locker rooms operate. The guys who are making the most money are going to get by far the most opportunities. And honestly, that's the way it should be. But at the end of the day, you still got to earn it. I will never forget when Seattle, he was the former LSU quarterback. They signed him to a big contract. Do you remember his name? And then they drafted this little known guy, Russell Wilson, in the 4th round. And he comes in and he earns a starting job with the Seahawks. And that guy played so little, I can't even remember his name now. And Russell Wilson turned into Russell Wilson. And people can kind of poke fun at him now, but he's had a phenomenal career. So my point is, while certain guys will get more opportunities, and I'm completely fine with that, the other flip side of that coin is at the end of the day, you still got to earn it. So who, if he came here, and let's just say the pieces to the puzzle fall as we think they will here in frickin' January, who would your starting offensive line be in the fall, Jake?
I think Tavarius Jackson might have been the name, but I'm not sure if that's for sure the Seattle kid.
No. It's he played he lost his job, so I forgot all about it. I'll be honest with you, Russell Wilson made him obsolete.
Yeah.
All right, but go ahead, Jake.
Keep going with it. But I was a guard short, I think, in my projected offensive lineman the other day. So Rocco Spindler fills in nicely. I think you'd still look at the tackles. I think Gunnar Gatula would still be the option again as currently stands. And then, like you said, Elijah Pritchett would be the other tackle there. Justin Evans you could have at center, and then I think Henry Lutovsky and Rocco Spindler would kind of fill it out. But again, there'd be competition kind of behind them. So I think that would be a very good addition. A little short, I know, like you said, maybe the fear or the biggest want is tackle, but some help at guard could certainly help along the way.
Oh, absolutely. At least have some depth. It would really be nice to have some depth. In a perfect world, I've always said 1 to 2 offensive linemen, because if we brought in one, let's make it a tackle, and we got some young, talented freshmen, hopefully one of those 2 guys can at least compete for a starting spot, or at least add solid depth. If we're going to bring in an interior guy, when I said 1, I was thinking tackle. When I was thinking 1 or 2, tackle and guard or center. Okay, because Justin Evans-Jenkins can play center or guard. That's kind of what I was envisioning. So this, to me, could be an exciting addition if he indeed does come to be a Husker.